Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case, looking at the latest news and discussions on the matter. Today we have an exclusive new article to do with the truck driver who came across Noah Presgrove's body along the highway, the first individual to report it in to authorities. The name of the truck driver, known as Tyler H., full name now revealed as Tyler Hardy. After 8 or close to 9 months of silence, this truck driver has decided to break his silence and speak out about the case, his personal experiences of the matter, etc. And we're going to read that today to understand if there's any new information, stuff we've never heard of before, even if it's old, any contradictory statements. You never know when we compare it to previous stories and claims made by such as other partygoers, timestamps given. We're going to really look at it today and focus in. Welcome to those that are currently here in this live premiere. Be sure to share your thoughts, opinions and reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. And at any point, if you want to react, you want to share your thoughts, your feelings, you want to elaborate on any points, or if you have any questions, leave them all down below in the comment section under this video. You will also find a pinned comment by me with some additional links if you do want to support this channel. And if you simply want to catch up on my recent videos, including the breaking news video last night in regards to details revealed of leaked footage at the scene of where Noah Presgrove's body was found on the highway at the time of when authorities were there and the body was being tampered with, right? You want more details about that, the context, you need to catch my video last night. Top right corner of the screen, click that I symbol. You'll also find my Noah Presgrove playlist, which I've created with all my videos collected in one spot. And next to it, you'll also find the option of last night's video. Be sure to catch up on it when you do have time. And if you don't click on the I symbol, down below under this video where it says video description, if you click on that, you'll find the list and the links there because it's the same thing, okay? Of course, shout out to the people as of last night, for example, for supporting this channel, some key individuals, whether it be gifted memberships or super chats. Very good of those people to do so that's all good. And just as a little heads up, it was good to see the range of people that came in last night when the live premiere was on. Welcome to anyone else who's come back since for tonight and any new viewers watching along the way. I've still got videos, projects, list jotted down, regardless of order. I've got some stuff I need to work on, but right now this appeared out of nowhere, right? Kind of breaking news in its own right, an exclusive look from the perspective of a key individual tied up within the case, the one to come across Noah's body, described in the past as the first on scene. And I know, granted, people may contest that and say, well, what about the people before that, such as 5'15", like Jack Newton? Well, we can get into that later or at another point, but we need to focus in on this article right now. And then later we can look at the reactions from people such as on Reddit and what they think about the situation. Because there have been some key points, okay? Some key critical timestamps and coincidences that have showed up. I don't know if you've picked up on it, but if you stick around in this video, you will know, right? So without further ado, let's begin looking at this exclusive new article. So the article is from Daily Mail. The title reads, "Exclusive. Man who discovered Oklahoma teen Noah Presgrove's naked body on desolate highway breaks his silence." This was posted at 20:38, 23rd of June 2024, obviously very recent. Think of time zone, UK, I would have only seen it just now. So some older photos there, as you see, Noah Presgrove on the left, then on the right is like the scene, if you want to call it a crime scene, where it's chalked where the body was, and nearby where teeth were found. Then in the middle, that photo of that older looking guy with a cap is supposedly the truck driver. Now, let's just scroll down. The driver who first stumbled upon the body of a teenager who mysteriously died during a wild party has broken his silence. Now, of course, it'll be interesting to look out for key points as to why he's broken his silence now. Why did he not way back then? Is it because of legal reasons? Is it because of his own personal safety, etc.? And as well, just as a heads up, hopefully most of the photos show up on here. I do have it in reader mode, and for good reason, because of the silly ads and advertisements on Daily Mail, right? That's why there's some patches, just so you know. Noah Presgrove, 19 years of age at the time, was wearing only shoes when his body was discovered on a desolate stretch of the US 81 near Terrell, Oklahoma on September 4th. Now, whilst we read the story, because I'm sure it'll refer back to previous points, which is good for people who have never seen it before or need their memory rejogging, but if there is misinformation or possibly mistakes made, I'm going to try and clear it up with the knowledge I have. And as a matter of fact, from last night, what we heard about, what's mentioned here, whilst it's true, it doesn't give the full explanation, and it's understandable as to why, if it's, they've not been able to reach out to it or hear it before. Yes, Noah in the autopsy report was stated as only wearing shoes, no shorts on him. But in terms of what Kaden Pressy saw, one of the party goers and one of the witnesses who appeared at the scene, after 5:15 onwards, even if it was just for 2 to 5 minutes before being told to leave the area, such as authorities telling him, Kaden Pressy saw Noah Presgrove, obviously dead, but wearing black shorts. So how does the autopsy report state one thing and Kaden says the other? Well, it's because what we looked at last night, there is some footage by an individual, unknown at this moment, who recorded it, okay? Like a secret recording, who was there at the scene at the time of when a police guy was there and a volunteer firefighter, supposedly. And it actually depicted and showed the police guy removing the shorts off Noah's body, so tampering with. Hence why the autopsy later, when they eventually did the autopsy, the people said, he had no shorts on him. But what Kaden saw at the time was true. He did have shorts on. Once Kaden was told to leave, that's when the police guy removed them. Odd, isn't it? Now, let's move on. It says, Noah was last seen alive about a mile away at a 4-day, 22nd birthday party with friends over the Labor Day weekend that was heavily documented on social media. Please. Heavily documented? Really? I wouldn't say it was heavily documented. I mean, at least from that video compilation of what I've seen on Daily Mail and what other people have seen, it wasn't that long of a video, was it? Like 1 to 2 minutes long. That wasn't heavily documented. I mean, if there's photos here and there and it's all spread out in a sparse way, if you collected it all together, you could say it was heavily documented. But let's not forget that supposedly some of the party goers were actually deleting their social media post afterwards, such as Jasmine Millan with a 3:41 a.m. on Monday saying, oh, well, Noah's missing. That was deleted. And supposedly other things were deleted too. So you can't really say it's heavily documented. A bit of an exaggeration there. Let's be realistic. As for the 22nd birthday party, the birthday girl, the party host, if you want to call her that, known as Avery Jo Combs. Okay, the daughter to Stevie Howard. Stevie Howard, the mother, the homeowner of the house. But she wasn't there at the time of the party. But there's some contradictory points later. What else do we have? Gulfmark Energy Field Supervisor Tyler Hardy was the first known person to find a teenager's body and called 911 at 5:53 a.m. Now, the only other time I remember hearing 5:53 a.m. was some kind of text conversation between Jack Newton and his father, Caleb Newton, to do with waking up or to do with fishing trip. And I think the screenshot may show further down, so we'll take a look at that. It says that Tyler Hardy spoke to local cops at the scene and said he was interviewed 3 times by Oklahoma Highway Patrol detectives, but is only now speaking publicly. But why? That's what I want to know. There's a photo of Noah, as you can see. Noah Presgrove, only shoes, yeah. Right, here we go, key photo there. So on the right will be Tyler, as you can see. Does it give a caption? Gulf Park Energy Field. Tyler Hardy, pictured with his wife Mallory, who's on the left, was the first known person to find Presgrove's body. You see how it's worded there? That Tyler Hardy was labelled as the first known person. Not that it's for definite, but at least to public knowledge and to the knowledge of Daily Mail, Tyler, on the right, is the first known person to have come across Noah's body. Is that entirely true? Well, supposedly, no. It could imply that it was Jack Newton who was the first person to come across Noah's body. Could it be like a food chain? There's someone before Jack Newton as well. If we're talking about it, though, as if you're just stumbling across the body, not dumping it, but you're another person and then you come across the body, maybe unknown to you. Just on that basis, bear with me, and it's Jack Newton. Why would it be Jack? Well, 5:15 in the morning, Jack returned back to the house and telling the news to the partygoers that Noah is dead. Now, for Jack Newton to be returning back to the house at 5:15, to know that Noah's dead would mean that Jack was at the highway before 5:15. Why was he over that way? Was he going back home? Was he taking anyone home, like a lift? Was he heading north because that's where he lives? Did he know that Noah was going to be down there when Jack was driving down? You'd think. Or not? I don't know. You know, can we have a look at that? You know, you share your thoughts down below. Because yes, we look at 5:15, the timestamp of him returning back to the house. But what about the time of when he left the house to get to the highway, to then come across Noah's body, and then however long spent there, and then returning back to the party house, somewhat upset and disturbed by what he's seen. 5:15 a.m. And we saw in a text conversation by Jack Newton at a later point within the case, and recent for me because I've only just got involved, that Jack Newton said that Noah Presgrove passed away at 4 in the morning. So does that mean that Jack Newton was present in Noah's final breath? And would that have been on the highway or elsewhere? And as well, the timestamp between 4 in the morning to 5:15, that must have been the time of when Jack Newton was away from the party house to be in the presence of Noah, to see him, to note the actual time of death, etc. Right? So it would mean that Tyler wasn't the first one, that Jack Newton was. But in terms of the first person to actually report it to authorities to do the right thing, Tyler, on screen on the right, did the right thing and was the only one to do so. Because why didn't Jack Newton then? If Jack Newton knew that Noah died at 4 in the morning, or even at least 5:15 returning back to the party house and telling everybody, why was no effort done? And it's weird, isn't it? 5:15 returning back to the party house. Kaden Pressy backing up that timestamp too because he was a witness to it upon hearing of the news from Jack Newton. Take in mind, from the party house to the scene where Noah's body was, it's about 1 mile. From 5:15 to 5:53 when this truck driver came along. So what the hell happened in between 5:15 to 5:53? You know, it's getting close to an hour time difference. At what exact time did Kaden Pressy head down to the body of Noah? Because if it's at 5:53, once it was reported in, okay, give or take a bit of time after that for the highway patrol to come on down. Now, if it was before that, and Kaden came down to the area with his group of guys before the police were there and authorities, who would have told him to back off, to move away? Because if it's not authority, you shouldn't have to listen to general public's orders, right? So if it's to do with the police being down there at the scene and some other authorities, and that's after 5:53, yeah, it was 5:15 when Jack alerted everyone at the house. Why did it take people so long in the house to drive on down to the highway? Okay, because I know Kaden said he was spending so many minutes looking for shoes and stuff. Unless it's because people didn't head on down immediately because they were distraught, they were crying, they were sad. But do you understand what I'm saying? The time difference between 5:15 to 5:53. Okay? 5:53 onwards is when authorities would have come on down, because at 5:53, this is when the truck driver reported it into authorities. So after 5:53, authorities heading down and then possibly ordering Kaden to step away from the area. So why did it take nearly close to or just over an hour for some of the partygoers to go from the house down to the highway when there's a distance of only 1 mile? What the hell's that all about? I'm sure there's context within it as to why there was delays, but I've not heard it, nor can I remember it. So if anyone can elaborate down below, I think that would be needed. Now, I know we're kind of going a bit off subject from Tyler, but these timestamps, these differences in timestamps are important, right? So, says in quotes, and this is supposedly Tyler speaking, "I was the one who found the body of Noah. So yes, I can say 100% that nobody messed with Noah. I was the first person there," he said. Whoa, 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 whoa. Nobody messed with Noah. What does that mean? Is this guy implying that because he was the first on scene, the first person to come across the body, that the body wasn't tampered with whilst he was there, whilst he was waiting for authorities to head on down? Well, my question is, from what we heard last night with that secret recorded footage, the details explaining that a police guy was removing shorts and tampering with the body, supposedly, as it's seen as tampering, as Kaden Pressy has said himself, one of the party goers, although he didn't witness that in the act, he did recall seeing Noah with the shorts on. But then the autopsy report said he wasn't wearing shorts. Odd, isn't it? But if the police have taken the shorts off, which that was supposedly happened, and then the details were then passed on to the autopsy crew and stuff, well, they would have been told an alternative story, not the original one. So there is a bit of corruption there. But for someone like Tyler here to say that nobody messed with Noah, I'm assuming that's to do with nobody messed with the body whilst he was there. But how long was Tyler at the scene for? When was he ordered to step away? Was he present there at the time of when the police guy supposedly tampered with the body? I wonder. Tyler says, "I know who and what I saw." Right. What do you mean by that? I know who and what I saw. So you know it was Noah. You know what you saw. But how would you know if it's Noah if you've never seen him before? What's going on here? The married father of two was driving south in darkness. Married father of two was driving south. Right, so south heading towards Terrell. So you'd be on the other side of the road. You'd be on the correct side in which you would be passing Noah's body, if I'm correct in saying. And that was in darkness to an early shift when he spotted something in the headlights of his Ford F-150 work pickup truck. A Ford F-150. I mean, how big is that? A pickup truck, it's not that big. How come it was, I don't know, was it referred in the past as a white semi-truck driver? But isn't a white semi-truck completely different to a Ford F-150? Maybe mistakes made in the background by other people. Nevertheless, Tyler pulled over to take a closer look and realised he was looking at the body of a young man dead by the side of the road. Hardy said Presgrove's body was lying in the fetal position, totally naked, except for mismatched shoes, with a pair of white shorts lying on the road about 25 foot away. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, this is not good. So this is kind of confusing maybe to some people. I am trying to interpret it on the spot right now with what I've heard just recently, so just bear with me. I mean, so 5:53, roughly around 5:53 when the truck driver came across Noah's body and it was already naked, okay? 5:15 when Jack Newton returned back to the house to let people know about Noah's death. And then at whatever time, Kaden Pressy going on up to the highway to the scene to come across the body. This all happening with Kaden Pressy, his group of guys heading on down way before 5:53 from the looks of it. So that would mean that this is weird, right? You know why this is really weird? Because it actually gives a better understanding as to roughly the timestamp of that hidden video recording from what we heard of last night. So everybody watching right now, just put anything on hold and just listen in, because this is really, really weird. So maybe we can work backwards. At 5:53, the truck driver reports it into the authorities, reports it to the police, the highway patrol, as to what he's found. And then normally, give or take so long, they would come on down to investigate the scene. Yet from the footage, what we heard of last night, the details given, before 5:53, there was already a policeman, there was already a volunteer firefighter, and two other clothed individuals with another person stood behind the camera recording it at the scene of Noah's body. So you're telling me that there were already key authoritative figures, key people already there at the scene before the truck driver reported it into the police themselves. That's a weird thing, isn't it? How did this police guy, how did this volunteer firefighter get to the scene before it was actually reported in? Well, it seems like someone else must have contacted them. Could it be some of the party goers? Could it be some of the friends and family members or parents of the party goers? Instead of contacting directly the police, they're contacting one of their friends, one of their family members who's a part of the police force or volunteer firefighter force. Just examples, okay? Maybe I'm not using the best wording, but just bear with me, right? So it would have been in between 5:15 to 5:53, just before that of 5:53, when the hidden footage at the scene, in which it showed supposedly a police officer pulling off the shorts, so that when the truck driver came on down, in his mindset, the first person on scene, the first person to come across Noah's body, by then he was already stripped and shorts were placed nearby, white ones, replaced, changed, different pair. That's really weird. That makes it extremely, extremely suspicious, right? So if I had to work it out, after 5:15, Kaden Pressy and a group of guys get into a truck, drive down to the highway, to be told and ordered to return back to the house within a 2 to 5 minute difference of arriving there, 2 to 5 minutes spent looking or trying to work out what's going on, then being ordered to leave. Not ordered to leave by the truck driver, because this is long before that. Ordered to leave, I'm assuming, by the police guy, by the volunteer firefighter, by those individuals. Hey, you need to head back. Now, is Kaden Pressy aware that certain authority higher-ups were already there at the scene, even though it happened before the truck driver actually reported it into the police? That is so weird. You know, it wasn't the whole police force. It wasn't everyone who attended there at the time. It was just the odd one. Like, you know, you get like a rogue agent, a rogue police guy. Oh, you're on duty or off duty. Oh, we'll just pull you aside. Can you have a look at this body, which you'll come across? Why not just... It seems like a direct call was made to a key individual within the police force or in the volunteer firefighter force. And, you know, I don't remember everybody's names, but I think some people were saying how those who were at the scene, they're connected with certain people from the party in some way. So if anything did go wrong at the party, or there was some kind of intent to cause damage, to kill Noah, let's just say, and it happened, and then they decided to dispose of Noah's body on the side of the highway, and then maybe the panicking, or even if it was on the basis of an accident and something went horribly wrong, people panicking, not sure what to do next, let's contact someone who we know, who will look out for us, who is in the professional field, who is a higher up, and we'll just pull him aside, such as that police guy, and he can come on down and take a look. And when they do get down there, and Noah's body's there, shortly afterwards, after 5:15, Kaden Pressy comes on down with his guys, unaware of what's truly happened or the actual context behind it all. Police guy, firefighter, tell him, nope, you got to head back now. And then once they've gone away, then the police guy's like, right, now's the time to clean up after my friends, or clean up after some of my family members, whatever you want to call the relations. Remove the shorts as potential key evidence, take it away somewhere, then replace it for alternative shorts, right? Are they directly Noah's? Maybe. How did the police guy get hold of those pair of shorts? Were they passed like the parcel between some of the party goers and this police guy connected? Did any of the party goers directly contact that police guy to attend on scene, kind of like an off-call or an off-duty appointment? You get what I'm saying? Because normally when you contact the police, you might contact the local station or however it works. I've never contacted the police, so I don't really know how it works, okay? It's kind of a good sign that to know, right? But, you contact the police and then they'll send out a certain amount of police officers and police individuals to head on down, depending on the severity of the accident, the crime, the situation. But to pull one police guy aside, only one, sounds more like a direct favour. Hey, you know me, we're related or we look out for one another. Could you do me a favour? We've just disposed of Noah's body. This is just a scenario, in case you're wondering. Could you please come on down to the highway to help us, because we don't know what to do with the body. There might be still some evidence. I don't know. We're panicking. And then the police guy comes down with some other key individuals. And then they remove the shorts as it's potential evidence. And then leave other shorts nearby folded, which was a bit of a silly thing to do because it seems a bit obvious and odd that. The best thing the police guy could have done, if he was tampering with the body, would be to take the black shorts off and then replace them for white shorts to make it look like that Noah was wearing white shorts and not folded by the side, because that is a bit weird. A dead body with folded shorts nearby, that's very weird. If you was to put them on the dead body, it would look less weird. If you're trying to cover up stuff and make it look less suspicious, you don't want it standing out like a sore thumb, and that's what the mistake was done by the police guy. And whilst that was all going on before 5:53, it would have had to have been, right? Unless Tyler was involved. Maybe we'll get to that later. But yeah, whilst that was happening, there was another individual with a phone, a camera, recording it all happening. And as I said, in the background, details have been exchanged with one another, with some people, one individual known as Michael, reaching out on Facebook, giving a description, right? And most people seem very confident in believing in it and stuff. We'll see what happens next, of course. But it's just like, when we heard about that last night, breaking news, a lot to, take in and learn about on the spot. And now we're hearing all of a sudden now. Doesn't anyone think it's weird timing, how you got the breaking news of this never seen before leaked footage or hidden footage, which has been talked about all of a sudden, to do with at the scene of the crime, at the scene of where the body of Noah was found, and then the day later, Tyler Hardy decides to speak out openly and say that when he came across Noah's body, the body was naked. So is Tyler completely unaware of what happened before he got there, or was he a part of it after? At least when Kaden Pressy arrived at the scene, we now know it was before 5:53. The reason being, it seems more likely, let's put it like that, because if people are a bit suspicious of Tyler Hardy and think he's lying, if he's being paid off to change the narrative, as a possibility, that's all I'm saying. I know some people may find that hard to believe because we're reading this right now and he's supposedly opening up, but, this long silence, why now? Why only now? Is it because just recently that leaked footage has been talked about a police guy pulling the shorts off and leaving white shorts nearby. Just like how Tyler here says that the body was totally naked and there was a white pair of shorts nearby. So the removal of Noah Presgrove's shorts, the tampering of the body supposedly occurred before 5:53. So that secret hidden recorded video, whatever you want to call it, which showed the people caught in the act, one of the police guys present doing it, supposedly, that was also before 5:53 a.m. Right. But what it also means is, whilst that which happened was before 5:53, it was after 5:15 and after Kaden Pressy was told to leave. So this is very interesting. So it would imply that before 5:53, but after 5:15, when Kaden Pressy and his guys went on down to see the body, there was already the police guy there, the volunteer firefighter, hence why he was told to leave. Kaden was. But I guess at the time, Kaden was unaware that the actual crime, the actual thing, wasn't publicly reported yet. It was reported at 5:53. So like near to an hour later, it was reported officially to the authority. Yet before that, there was already some certain authoritative figures already there at the scene, but it wasn't officially reported from the looks of it. So it's like off-duty, activity in a way. Would you call it that? I don't know how else to word it. This is very, very, very dodgy, right? This is weird. What else? It says that the shorts were about 25 foot away. Bit of a distance, if I'm correct in saying. What else? Crucially, Hardy said there was very little blood at the scene, despite the teenager's massive upper body injuries, including 3 skull fractures. Well, that's consistent, at least. A medical expert told Daily Mail that with the injuries detailed in Presgrove's autopsy report, there would have been a lot of blood at the scene. So it does imply that maybe where it actually happened was elsewhere. And with Noah's body being on the highway, probably dumped there. And if the body was dumped there by party goers or strangers, they must have been in direct contact with that police guy, with that volunteer firefighter, to alert them off duty to say, hey, we've not reported it in officially, publicly, but we know you, you know us. Could you come on down and take a look yourself in the background just to clear up, just to clarify things? Because, a bit worried. We don't want it to backfire. This seems definitely dodgy. What else? Many friends, family, locals believe Presgrove didn't die where he was found and was instead killed somewhere else and his body dumped on the highway. That's a fair point. It's a fair point. Let's just say if on the basis that there was lots of blood found at the highway, then you could assume that was the spot. But there wasn't enough blood for that to justify it. What else do we have? Noah Presgrove's final moments before vanishing from friend's party. There you go, Noah on the left, and then on the left. On the far right, the guy with the floral pattern top, known as B.S. Bryland Sweat. There's the markings of roughly where the body was found at. So was it classified directly on the hard shoulder on the side? Yeah, it was. It's because it's facing the other way, isn't it? I believe that is probably facing south from the looks of it, because on the left seems to be the road, and for Tyler heading down south towards Terrell, this is the side he would be looking at on the right. Confronting photos of police, chalk outlines showed where his body marked by the white line and at least one of his teeth marked by the circle. There's the circle. Not too far away. But why did it go from the body there to there? Did it bounce out? Did it fall out of his mouth? I wonder. What else? Hardy stayed with the body as Oklahoma Petroleum Allies semi-truck he had been behind turned around in Terrell about 2 miles south and came back to the scene. Right, so they talk about a semi-truck turning about back and forth. Is that what Jack Newton was talking about, where a truck passed by and then later turned back round and came back to the scene and then got out? I wonder if it was poorly worded by Jack in the past, because there are some similarities here from the looks of it. Anyway, in quotes, is this still Tyler? I called it in and so did the truck driver. We were on the phone with them at the same time, he said. We did not leave the scene until around 10 a.m. and nobody was messing with anything. Oh, no. Right, on the basis that Tyler is innocent, from 5:53 to 10 a.m. And you're saying that the body wasn't messed with, not tampered, nothing at all, that you came across the body of Noah naked with shorts folded up. Now, in Tyler's defence, 5:53, nothing happened to him, or from what he knows of, what he saw. But it's what happened before 5:53. It's what happened after 5:15. It's what happened after Kaden Pressy ordered to leave the scene of the body. Okay? In between 5:15, just under 5:53. In that period of time, that's where supposedly foul play, tampering of the body occurred, after when Kaden was told to leave the scene. Right? The time of when the little secret video was recorded. So when Tyler got there, the damage was already done. That's how it comes across here, right? I want to know your thoughts down below. Less than 10 minutes after both he and the truck driver called 911, Presgrove's best friend Jack Newton arrived. Around 6:05. That seems somewhat consistent, I guess, as we've heard before. In quotes, Hardy says Jack Newton was the only person who walked up to Noah, and he told me who it was until the Terrell Fire and Jefferson County Sheriffs showed up, Hardy said. Why did Jack show up at around 6 to 6:05 in the morning? What was the reasoning for him heading down that way? Was he making it back home? Was he giving somebody a lift home? Right? In the eyes of Tyler, trying to understand it like that, why did he come on down that way? Was he just another passerby, like the truck driver, decided to get out to see what the commotion was, then went up to the body and confirmed it was his friend Noah? Well, maybe. But as we know, maybe Tyler doesn't know, but from what Jack has mentioned, that it was 4 in the morning when he knew the time of when Noah passed away. So from 4 in the morning to about 6 in the morning, roughly 2 hours. 2 hours before that, 2 hours before Tyler, Jack already knew. But within that 2-hour period, no attempt was made by Jack to contact the correct authorities, unless there was an attempt, successful or not, to contact one of the little authoritative people in the background, such as that police guy. I wonder. This is really weird. Jack also told Daily Mail that there was minimal blood at the scene, only a little coming out of his ears and top of his head where part of his scalp was torn away. You see the map there. Obviously, I've already done a detailed map analysis. We can always go back over it at a later point. There's a photo there. We saw that not long ago. And then the cross in the background, to show respect. Presgrove's body was found between the 2 chalk lines. Teeth within the circles in the background. What's that bigger circle closer to the screen there? Is that to do with more teeth, or is that more so the necklace? I wonder. Oh God, the blue phone's tilting. Presgrove's best friend called his father. So that was supposedly 6:05 a.m. Caleb Newton, Jack, to break the news, and he hurried to the scene about 40 minutes down the highway from his home in Comanche. Now, as we've seen or heard before 6:05, before 6 in the morning, at 5:53, that's when there was that text conversation, and I hope the photo's down below. If not, I'm sure it'll be brought up elsewhere. He goes on to say, by then, police had arrived at 6:18 a.m. and covered Presgrove's body with a tarp or sheet and folded the shorts by the side of the road near his body. What? How can you be folding shorts? How can you fold shorts by the side of Noah's body when they were already folded at 5:53, as Tyler states? What the hell's that all about? Tyler heads on down, comes across the body, naked body, folded shorts, contacts police. Police come down at 6:18 a.m. and then they walk up to the body, they see the folded shorts and then decide to fold the shorts. Nope, that makes no sense at all. What the hell? That's dodgy language. Silly. What else? Jack said he woke up ready to go fishing and was told his best friend was missing. What? I don't remember hearing that. I know about the fishing bit. But, what else was there? The bit about oversleeping, that's questionable. I mean, take in mind that, Jack's alerted not early, but getting on into the morning. Yeah, it was 5:15. It was 4 a.m. when he already knew, supposedly. Weird. In quotes, I figured maybe he got a ride or something. Noah's done that before, got mad and left. Oh, he's done that before. So if this is what Jack is saying here, quoted, well, what Jack says here is similar to what, who was it now? Was it Sarah Long, I think? Similar to what Jasmine Milan said. So Jasmine Milan, Jack Newton and Sarah Long all say that it's been known that Noah would walk away. He's done it before. Sarah Long, the sister to Stevie Howard, who wasn't even at the party, was relaying it and saying it to Jasmine that, he walked away the night before and the friends at the party, found him and brought him back to the house. And then after that, he went missing for good. And Jasmine Milan just did a casual post in a joking way online, Snapchat. Yeah, I'd say after reading this article, things have got even more dodgy, okay? And when I say dodgy, I mean dodgy. What else do we have? In quotes, he was not one you usually worry about. I wasn't really thinking about it. Jack was supposed to go fishing with his father that day and texted him at 5:53 a.m. Coincidentally, the same time as the 911 call, letting him know he was on his way. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, let's just be realistic here to try and understand how things could have come about. Let's just say that 5:15 in the morning never happened. That event with Jack returning back to the house, already aware of the death of Noah. If that never happened, if that text message never happened in which Jack talked about 4 in the morning of Noah's passing, if none of that happened and it was just a simple thing of Jack was at the party, he eventually went to sleep later on, he supposedly overslept at 5:53, saying, I'll meet you down there, or so, instead of the house, I'll meet you down at the ramp of Warwicker Lake, for the boating trip. 5:53, getting ready to leave the party house, heading north down the highway, approaching Noah's body unknown to him. You'd be heading north because that's the way you go to get to Warwicker Lake. And whilst heading on down there, in a short space of time, because it's only a 1 mile distance from the party house to where the body was, Jack abruptly had to stop and get out. Whether the road was truly closed at the time or not, Jack stopped, got out around 6 in the morning. From 5:53 to 6 would make a bit more sense because it doesn't take that long to get from party house to the body. And then seeing the body for the first time and being shocked. That would be normal. Then at 6:05, 5 minutes later, making a call to your father because, you're sad, you're disturbed, you don't know what to do, things are going on. And then after 6:05, 6:18, police head on down. When I say perfect, I don't mean it in a twisted way, but that would be the perfect scenario which would have cleared Jack's name to an extent. If all the other previous timestamps and claims made by Jack never existed, never happened, there would be less trust issues, wouldn't there? Right? And, you know, with all the other previous timestamps out of the way, the idea of a fishing trip would appear more normal, because at that time, at that point of 5:53, and even before, Jack would have no clue what he was going to experience next. He would have had no clue about the situation with Noah already being dead. So at 5:53 onwards, leaving that party house, heading north, excited to meet with his father to do that fishing trip, and it being abruptly halted because only a mile down north, Noah's body was there, and Jack found out firsthand that way at that time, 6 a.m. That would have been normal. That would have been so clear. But no, that's obviously not the case. Because before 5:53, as said, at 5:15, Jack already knew. That's what the problem is. That's the most problematic timestamp within this case, because it makes Jack look dodgy, doesn't it? Because if you know at 5:15 about the death of your best friend, but then you play it off afterwards like you've never heard it before, then at 6 you act all surprised, shocked and scared and sad, that's just weird. And as well, in between all that happening, at 5:53 wanting to do a fishing trip and still wanting to do so despite at 5:15 earlier on, nearly an hour before, already knowing about the death of your friend, and still wanting to go on a fishing trip and still wanting to head north to pass by that body, but deciding to stop, then get out, then confirm the body, then be distraught and upset. It makes no sense at all. So that 5:15 timestamp and the 4 a.m. timestamp are the biggest problems in this case, especially when it applies to Jack Newton, because it makes him look more suspicious. Okay? That's my opinion. That's my take on the matter. Let me know your thoughts down below. It says down here, I'll meet y'all at the lake. Can you bring me a hat, please? Someone messed with mine after I went to bed, he wrote. Caleb replied, okay. Jack assumed Presgrove was fine and left for the lake, driving north until he saw the semi-trailer and pickup by the side of the road. The photo there is supposedly of Jack, I believe. Yes. Jack Newton here. Don't really see that many photos of Jack, but there you go. Right, here we go. We've actually got the screenshot. Boom. Right. What's that truck to do with? 2016 Chevrolet Silverado, 2500 HD Crew Cab, $25,000. Send seller a message. Is this still available? I don't know why it's so cheap. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that this vehicle here is not the ATV. Two separate things. The ATV being sold on Facebook Marketplace by Jack Newton, owned by Caleb or shared between them. That ATV last used at the party when Noah supposedly flipped it over and then sold afterwards. Weird timing, of course, very close together. Is there a link? But what we see on screen is something different, I'm assuming, because that does not look like an ATV to me. I mean, when I think of the Dylan Brown's case, ATV, I think of like a little dirt buggy. Could be wrong. You know, I'm not an American. I'm not from the US. I don't see those vehicles at all. So if there's any corrections needed, you can always leave it down below. But this seems to be just about buying a potential vehicle at the time. On the day exactly, no. And the reason why this, what you see here on the screen, didn't happen on the same day is because below it then starts a new chapter, Monday, September 4th. 5:53 a.m. If it was all on the same day, same time, you wouldn't have that date given there. You only get given the date there is when the new day, the next day or the next month rolls over, and that's the next time you decide to send a new message, so it gives a different updated date and time and year as normal, right? So, on the day, 5:53, supposedly Jack doesn't know of what's happened, despite telling people at the party almost an hour before about Noah's death. Odd, isn't it? Jack says, I'll meet y'all at the lake. Can you bring me a hat, please? Okay. Someone messed with mine after I went to bed. So I'm assuming that Jack went to bed at the party house. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who would have messed with his hat, though? Was it involved in the conflict with Noah, final moments, or completely different? Did Jack lose his hat if he did approach Noah's body earlier on in the morning and couldn't find it? Is that why he wanted to head north to look for it along the way? No. Can't imagine that, because he's asking his father, can I have a hat? It makes sense to have a hat, needing one if you're going fishing early in the morning because of the sunrise. You know, you're in the water, you think of the sun as it shows up in the sky, very bright, blinding. How it shimmers on water, it can blind you. You probably need some glasses as well, maybe. A hat as well to, you know, for the shade, to stay a little bit cooler. That's understandable. But as for where Jack's original hat ended up is a mystery. Is the hat buried? Is it a piece of evidence in the case? Did somebody else simply steal it? Was it simply lost? Was it ever retrieved? We don't know. So there are questions there. Move on. Oklahoma Chief Medical Examiner Leonardo Raquero ruled Presgrove died of multiple blunt force injuries, but how he got them was undetermined. His autopsy report, released on May 13th, detailed extensive injuries to the teen's upper body, including 10 broken ribs, serious skull, neck, spinal fractures, internal bleeding, brain organ damage, cuts, grazes all over his body. Take in mind, this is very brief in terms of the damage description. There was one extensive skull fracture running across his head, the hinge, I think it was called, splitting the middle base of the skull into two, and two smaller ones. Police investigators describing his head as being caved in. Raquero wrote there were no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene, indicating Presgrove was almost certainly not hit by a car. In quotes, he was naked and was only wearing unmatching shoes. There was a pair of shorts found several feet from the dissident and was reported to be his, Raquero wrote. Well, if they're reported to be his shorts, and if before 5:53, before Tyler got there, and before it was reported to the police, before all of that, there was already a police guy there off duty or on the sideline, helping and assisting in a dodgy way, as supposedly video footage highlights that it's supposedly removing the shorts from Noah's body, tampering with evidence, replacing it with white shorts nearby and folding them up, which is very odd, and this here stating that the shorts belong to Noah. How did that police guy get a hold of Noah Presgrove's other shorts? It would imply that maybe there was a drop-off, maybe there was a meet-up. Police guy comes down to the scene of where the body is, some of the party goers or someone comes on down and says, right, here's the other shorts, let's exchange them right now. And then what happened to the black shorts? Were they taken away by the police, or were they handed over to the party goers or some other person out there in that direction? And Noah's alternative shorts were handed over to the police, and then the police put them nearby to the scene of Noah's body. I suppose the police guy didn't put those white shorts onto Noah's body to make it look less suspicious. Right? That's what it seems to be. A meet-up. A little private meeting. Exchanging of items. Weird. What else? Additionally, there were 3 pieces of a white metal chain as well as part of a tooth present several feet from the decedent. Yeah. Seen that before. Raquero noted there was a drawing in black ink of a stick figure person on the side of his right thigh, which is supposedly a tattoo and not a marker pen. The shorts he was wearing were undamaged. What? The shorts he was wearing were undamaged. How can you say the shorts that he was wearing when you clearly said that when seeing the body, he was naked? The shorts nearby folded. Maybe you could assume that the folded shorts nearby was what he wore at the time, hence there was no damage on those shorts. But in a way, when you hear the backstory in the background, of course the shorts aren't going to be damaged, especially if he didn't wear them at the time of when he was killed, because he was wearing the black shorts, just like how Kaden Pressy said himself when he saw Noah's body earlier on. And then what happens afterwards? Magically, they disappear. They're taken off magically and replaced with a different colour. It's like a bloody magic act in the dark. What is going on here? That's silly. That's a silly point to say. The shorts he was wearing. Yet this whole article has been saying that Noah wasn't wearing shorts from the autopsy report and from where his body was at. You can assume that the shorts found nearby is what he was wearing, but how did they end up by the side of him? How did they end up being folded up? If Tyler Hardy says nobody messed with the body at all, do you honestly think, Tyler, that it's normal to come across a body naked, especially with shorts, maybe belonging to that person, being found nearby and folded up? That's not normal at all, right? If a person was committing suicide, or if it was accidental by the individual, such as Noah, right, on that basis, and they died, they're not just suddenly going to wake back up, pull the shorts off, fold them up, and then fall back to the ground and then die properly. That doesn't happen. Somebody else would have to assist. Somebody else would have to take the shorts off Noah and replace them with a different coloured shorts and fold them and then leave. And then Tyler gets down there and sees it for the first time. For Tyler to say the body wasn't messed with and that it's perfectly normal for folded shorts to be found nearby, and for this article to, highlight that, but then to say that the shorts that Noah was wearing, it's fucking contradictions, a complete disaster, okay? You got Donna in the background that says twat waffle. This is a clusterfuck, okay? A clusterfuck of outdated waffles, okay? The nearest Waffle House is probably going to close down because it's a complete mess, okay? What the hell am I talking about? I don't know. Anything else to mention here? Grass, debris lodged in the shoes. Well, we heard that from the autopsy, which is very interesting. Why would there be grass in the shoes? Is that from where the body was found nearby to the side of the highway, which is near to grass? Or was the shoes collected grass at the party house when Noah was alive or dead? I wonder. Key question there. Presgrove had a blood alcohol level of 0.14, but no drugs in his system. Okay, so not quite good there. Confronting photos of police chalk outlines. We've seen that before, of course, and that appears to be a hair. Wow. So what do we do now? Well, let's see if anyone else picked up things like how I did on the Reddit page. Let's read the comments and reactions. Well, here we are. 13 hours ago it was posted, so people up to date there, taking mine a time zone difference. I would have been asleep, hence why I couldn't report on this sooner than, like others have. But as it reads here, man who found Noah Presgrove breaks silence, Tyler Hardy. Now the name is given here because I guess it's been allowed. Certain rules and regulations are allowed. It's just basically a summary, right? So if you want to pause it, you can if you want. Okay, so it's good of the individual to, summarize it and stuff, provide the link as well. All good. Cheap caregiver, shout out to him or to them. Let's just see the reactions. That's why we're here. View more. Hopefully it doesn't spaz out. Excellent. His statement contradicts the mysterious video that has been rumoured to show officials secretly messing with Noah's body. So what Excellent has done here has done an excellent summary of what I was trying to explain in this video, right? So yes, I wonder if it's a coincidence that this man broke his silence in the same few days that this video was brought up. Exactly. So Excellent is on the same wavelength here. Nana Lulu, if that's how you say the name, he commented on Facebook a few weeks ago, not within the last week, but Kaden Pressy was shown his picture and says that that's not who he saw, and truck driver didn't see him. He commented. Who's he commented on Facebook? Are you talking about Tyler Hardy a few weeks ago? And that Kaden Pressy was shown the picture of Tyler Hardy and said that wasn't him. So we're saying there are two different Tyler Hardys. Is there a fake Tyler Hardy or an alternative being used using that name? Oh God. This is weird. Very. My point is that both of these things were put out around the same time frame. True. Yeah. About 10 months ago. Nana says, no, they weren't. Well, there were. If you're basing it off what's been, pushed out there just recently by the likes of Mike, giving the detailed description of the footage, right? Yeah, the original footage was 8 to 10 months ago or so, yeah. But how it came about just now, explained, detailed, described, maybe a bit further than what it was maybe a few weeks ago, let's just put it like that. It's come out. And then what happened around the same time? The Daily Mail article, because the Daily Mail article, what was it, yesterday, right? 23rd or so? Well, it's back to back. Things could have been going on in the background to an extent, public or not, before that. But in terms of these official statements, these official claims, these things back and forth, bang, bang, it would be. But let's just see what the reply is. In my opinion, they were. Okay, so we're going a bit back and forth there. Never mind. If you wonder why I don't click on view more comments, it's because that's what it does. It kicks me off. That's why I try and avoid it at times. It's a pain. Let's move on. Right. Ratch says, yeah, and still no word of Jack Newton leaving the scene to tell the gang that Noah passed away. Yeah. I mean, for Jack to tell people, it would have been 5:15 when Tyler Hardy arrived at the scene, passed by and then got out and realised what was happening, 5:53. So they probably wouldn't have seen one another at that moment, but they would have seen one another after 5:53, as the article states, supposedly. Stargirl says, can you tell me more about the video, how it came up, what's supposed to be on it? I've seen a few posts about the video today, but must have missed how the conversation came up. Well, Stargirl, if you head over to Warlike Ref YouTube channel, which is mine, and you go on to yesterday's video that I uploaded, the details are explained there to the best of one's ability. And it might clear things up for you. So check that out. This person, he's quite certain he was the first on the scene. That could be true from his standpoint. Obviously, yes. Yet, he must be aware of Kaden Pressy's timeline. Or at least aware by now. Yeah. They both posted on Noah's Army Facebook group. Oh, so Tyler Hardy has posted on Noah's Army Facebook group. So he has engaged. He has got involved. But for how long? Recent or a long time? Has he been a frequent poster, a frequent visitor? Yes or no? Was Tyler Hardy, and is he still a member on the page or not? I think you have to be a member anyway in order to post things, I believe. So, yeah. Now, yeah, if Tyler has been engaging on that Facebook page, obviously he has an interest and a focus. Sometimes in cases, you might be a part of a case, but you might not want to engage too much or be too hands-on online. But from the looks of it, Tyler Hardy is. So obviously, the more time you spend on that Facebook page, the more likely you are to stumble across Kaden Pressy's statements and points what he made from what he witnessed. For Tyler not to mention any of that within that breaking silence, it seems a little bit lackluster. I'd like to know if he and or the truck driver saw Kaden Pressy and the other young men at all. It doesn't make sense for Kaden Pressy to fabricate his story about driving his Jeep along with other young men to see Noah's body. Kaden Pressy's timeline and Tyler Hardy's could both be true individually, yeah. Hopefully the LE and FBI have had a chance to talk to the other young men, curious what their account of the events were that morning. Well, from what I'm saying is, 5:15 is when Jack alerted the likes of Kaden Pressy and other people at the party house. So then, after 5:15, that's when Kaden Pressy and a group of guys went down to the highway. And upon getting there, by then, which is long before 5:53 from the looks of it, because it doesn't take that long to get from the party house to the highway when it's only a 1 mile distance, right? So for Kaden to get down there and then 2 to 5 minutes later be ordered to leave, likely by authority. But why would authority be there if Tyler hasn't arrived and Tyler hasn't contacted authorities yet because it's not reached that timestamp. It's because it ties in with that alternative event which has circulated in recent time, where there was already a police guy, there was already a volunteer firefighter at the scene, and 2 other clothed individuals, with a person nearby secretly recording it. So likely when Kaden Pressy got down there, that's when it was all going on, but just before the tampering of the body. So Kaden was able to see Noah's body, able to see the black shorts, but then told to leave. Why was he told to leave? Maybe because a police guy said, hey, turn around now. I need to get on with unclothing Noah. Not that that's what was said, but, you know, going through the person's mind. Hey, you need to step back. You need to turn back now because I'm about to do something dodgy and you can't see because that would incriminate me. I'm not trying to rap or rhyme. It's just unfortunate, the timing of it. But you get what I'm saying? That's probably why there was resistance. Back off. You can't see this. It's illegal. Anyway. What else? TN. I believe the timeline of Kaden Pressy and you believe Tyler Hardy. What? Okay, the timeline. When Tyler Hardy says, I know for sure that the body wasn't, messed with, wasn't adjusted, none of that, and you can interpret it as not tampered. Tyler Hardy thinks it's normal to come across a naked body on the side of a highway with white shorts folded up by the side. A dead person can't take the shorts off and fold them. It would mean that somebody else did. And if it was someone else that did, they could have been the one responsible, or they could have been at least the first person on scene who didn't stick around. So for Tyler to say that he's the first person on scene, that is incorrect. Even if he feels like he's the first person on scene, it's incorrect. You don't get folded shorts near to a dead body, especially in the middle of nowhere. So when there's few little cracks that start showing, few little contradictions like how Excellent said, you can't really trust Tyler Hardy. I wouldn't say so, in my opinion. I can't really trust him. It's really dodgy. Tyler was adamant that he never saw Kaden Pressy, and we still haven't heard Tyler state that he saw Jack Newton leave to go back to the house and come back. Well, the reason why Tyler couldn't have mentioned about Jack Newton leaving to go back to the house is because to go back to the house to then come back afterwards would mean you're referring to when Jack was to leave to go back to the house for the first time, which would have been 5:15. Then to return back to the house, the last thing what we heard of was about 6 in the morning. So is it such a thing that when Jack returned back to the house at 5:15 to let everybody know that Jack remained at the house crying, decided to sleep it off, then 5:53 in the morning, like, oh yeah, we'll do fishing now, we'll head on down, I'll meet you down there, I'll just go down the highway, even though I know that Noah's already dead and I've alerted people about it. Oh, I'll just get out of my vehicle. Oh, there's Noah's body. Oh, I'm going to have a breakdown all of a sudden and cry like it's the first time I've heard about it. Yeah, bit odd, right? But we're tying it in with Tyler. Possibilities as to why Tyler didn't state about Jack Newton leaving the scene to get back to the house at 5:15 is because it said that the truck driver got there around 5:53. It was 5:15 when Jack Newton returned back to the house. So it was before 5:15 in the morning when Jack supposedly was already at the highway or at the scene of where the body was. And that would have been just over an hour time difference between Jack being there and then Tyler getting there. So they wouldn't have seen one another at that point because of that 1 hour time difference. When Jack's there, Tyler isn't. When Tyler's there, Jack isn't. Let me just re-say that in case I spazzed out in how I've worded it. It's like a tongue twister. When Jack was there earlier in the morning, an hour before, Tyler wasn't. When Tyler got there an hour later, Jack already left and was at the house. But as well, Kaden Pressy. Kaden Pressy would have got down there after 5:15, but before 5:53. Because at 5:53, Tyler mentioned nothing about any police being there, even though that secret recording video, what we heard last night, stated that, or implied that before 5:53, dawn, early, that there was a police guy, there was a volunteer firefighter, 2 clothed individuals. and taking the shorts off. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't know if we need like a timeline. Maybe I'll draw it, I'll write it out. I probably could do it on screen as well, but I don't know if I could actually fit it onto one page. Maybe I'll do that in the future. But I think if we was to do that, maybe certain things need to be further confirmed or validated. I don't know if it's worth rushing into just yet. But yeah, it seems like people come and go. Tyler, once he got there, he remained there. But the likes of Kaden Pressy came and went because he was ordered to leave, probably by the dodgy policeman. Jack Newton came and went from around 4 a.m, supposedly, because that's when he knew when Noah died, as he claimed. 5:15, making it back to the house. And then what, after 5:53, leaving the house to get back to the scene at 6 a.m, sleeping it off in between. Is that normal? Well, some of the other partygoers did the same thing, as Kaden Pressy highlighted. When he was told to get back to the house, Kaden didn't sleep because he couldn't, but the other guys slept like nothing was wrong. So maybe that applies to Jack as well. What else do we have? Thanks for confirming what Tyler said about Kaden Pressy, Ratch. As I stated on Spite's post, to me it seems Jack Newton was with Kaden Pressy earlier, Noah wearing shorts, and Jack Newton also happened to arrive at the scene after Tyler found Noah naked. Yeah. Since we don't know if Jack Newton left during Tyler's timeline, I'm interested to find out when exactly did Jack tell Kaden Pressy, and when did he go to Carter Combs' room to tell her Noah has died? Well, I thought that was already mentioned, 5:15 a.m, when Jack Newton returned back to the house to let people know what's happened. Tyler's statements does not invalidate Kaden Pressy's 2 different timelines. Also, Kaden Pressy said he looked at his phone after Jack Newton woke him up. This is the reason why he said he recalls the time he was awakened by Jack Newton. I can relate to this because I look at my phone after I wake up. The closest I've got is a screenshot of Stevie Howard throwing the spin on Tyler not seeing Jack Newton leave. Where she heard that from, no idea, but I've been wondering it for a while. They specifically left that info out of the article. I just want to hear Tyler say that he didn't see Jack Newton leave the scene. But Jack Newton would have had to have left the scene before Tyler got there in order for the 5:15 timestamp to be validated. Stroud, Tyler cannot know the body was messed with before he came upon it. He must mean whilst he was on the scene. Yeah. He can't speak to things that occurred before his arrival. Exactly. There we go. Here's the link to the article. Not sure why it wasn't posted as such. It won't let me this post. Sticky, whatever. There we go. I stated in another sub, awfully strange that the truck driver's account of the body is quite different than that of what is reflected in the ME's report. This article didn't go into detail on his account per se. What about his account of the body is different than the ME report? Question. Oh, what's going on here? Is that... Oh, it's been downvoted. That's not good, is it? He stated body was naked and wearing mismatched shoes. ME report said Noah was wearing shorts and one shoe. No. That's wrong. The official autopsy did not say that. This is not correct. The autopsy report states he was naked and was only wearing unmatching shoes. There was a pair of shorts found several feet from the decedent and was reported to be his, and the colour white. So the official autopsy report links with what Tyler saw himself. That could all well be true, but it's what happened before 5:53, before Tyler got there. Things happened from the looks of it. Jack was actually the person who stated that Noah was found wearing shorts and one shoe. He said this through text message with another friend. There is a screenshot of the chat. It'd be good to have a look at that. So if that is true, Jack stated that Noah was found wearing shorts and one shoe. I don't remember hearing about the one shoe, unless there's a bit of misinformation or a bit of a misunderstanding there. But if it was truly true that At least Jack saw Noah somewhat clothed and didn't mention anything after that. That would tie in line with Kaden, with what he saw, but the shoe situation, a bit dodgy. Yeah, and the article states both shoes had grass in them, but the ME reports that only one shoe had grass in it. No. No, if I remember correctly, both shoes, the shoelaces, had grass and bits of debris within them. I mean, I can have another look over it, but I'm sure it said both shoes had grass within the shoelaces. Anyway, Tyler's wife has spoken out on it. She says this journalist has never spoken to them. I believe the post from Daily Mail has been removed. It hasn't. The article is still available, it is. Weird. Jaded. I can't remember where I read this. I think it was a post by Kaden Pressy's mom, Alicia Lee, known as. She stated that Kaden Pressy knew what trucks he saw. One was a service truck with white toolboxes and a crane, and the other an 18-wheeler. Was it the oil hauler Kaden Pressy saw, or an 18-wheeler with a box trailer? In this article, it states the 18-wheeler was from Oklahoma Petroleum Alliance, which is a crude oil buyer. This website shows their trucks are oil haulers, which one Kaden Pressy saw could help nail down which truck was there, I'd think, for the timeline. The F-150 is not the same as a service truck, exactly. It's a pickup truck. It's a bit like an SUV, but the back of it is open where you can store things in the back. It seems like Kaden was at the scene before Tyler and was told to leave. Yeah, that's true. We can explain a bit more after. There were other trucks there. They were probably also told to leave. Yes, I am not confused about the service truck. I'm asking which 18-wheeler was there whilst the service truck was there that Kaden Pressy saw. Sorry, I wasn't clear. I even edited it thinking I made it more clear. Ugh. Sorry, I misunderstood. I asked a few weeks ago which was the big rig pointed. The big rig that arrived at 5:53 drove to Terrell to turn around, so it would have been pointed south at first and then pointing north. Yes. What kind of truck did Kaden see? Which way was it pointing when Kaden saw it? I mean, would Kaden have seen any of that? And how long was Kaden there for at the scene? It'd be nice to know after 5:15 exactly the timestamp when Kaden arrived at the scene of Noah's body for the very first time. Because he did say 2 to 5 minutes later he was told to turn back. And all this would have been before 5:53. All this would have been before Tyler got there, the truck driver, and supposedly the other truck driver too. Supposedly. You know, I'm basing it off that hidden footage and the descriptions detailed given. If for whatever reason that turns out to be somewhat invalid, then it does kind of cock everything up in a way. That's why I can't get ahead of ourselves. Whom is the truck driver? That's what we need to know for sure. Who is the truck driver? Right, so people are asking about that now because if it says that Tyler was in a Ford F-150 pickup truck, it isn't like a true semi-truck, two completely different things. So this person here is saying, who is the truck driver? Are you saying who is the white semi-truck driver? The one that had to turn around, who got there just after Tyler? Is that what you're saying? Carl Branch, still, I question how covered/blocked off was Noah's body. That seems like a main road, so I get how Jack Newton would drive past something, but what made him stop and investigate? Yeah, because if it was just a simple accident, you might just pass by and think nothing of it. There would have to be a reason why you decided to stop and get out and then check the body. Why you'd even think, oh, could that be Noah? Why would you even be thinking that? If Jack was confident and certain that Noah was okay and got a lift back, as it was stated in that Daily Mail article, and at the time Jack was supposedly just going fishing, if we weren't including all those dodgy timestamps before that, 5:15 and 4 a.m, yeah, was the road completely blocked off, so he decided to get out and then have a look and then realise, oh shit, that's my best friend. I wonder. What else do we have here? If it's just by chance the body was exposed for the average driver to see and flip a U-turn to investigate, okay, but when the father had time to pick up or sprinkle teeth. See, this is the thing. Last night there was the odd person commenting saying that Caleb Newton did not pick up teeth and did not sprinkle them and did not put them in his pocket. It's misinformation. I saw that point made last night. So did Caleb put Noah's teeth in his pocket or not? Some people say no, misinformation. Other people say it did. Do we have a source? Do we have pure proof? Do we have a screenshot? Do we have a conversation of it actually happening or being talked about by a key person within the case? Do we have any of that? If so, explain down below. Even provide a link, if possible, to a certain page on Facebook if it allows it, maybe. Did the truck witness this Jack Newton leaving? Can someone share the video mention? And not to sound mean, but I'm not going to take the word of a truck driver to say that's the area was tampered with, and you know, it doesn't look like anything suspicious considering his injuries and small amount of blood at the scene. Yeah. I just wanted to refer back and directly respond to that person on Reddit that said that there was only one shoe which had bits of grass lodged within it. That is incorrect. What we're looking at on screen is the official autopsy documents, and where it is highlighted in red, the body was received wearing only an unmatched pair of shoes. The right shoe was a Hey Dude brand with a speed lacing shoelace containing minimal debris and grass inside. The left shoe was an Adidas brand with a regular tied shoelace containing more debris and more grass inside. Hence, both of the shoes Noah was wearing had grass within them. Not one, but both. I just wanted to clear that up. So what's my opinion of this whole situation ordeal that's going on? Well, granted, what I would say, to my knowledge at least, from what I've seen recently and publicly, it is a bit of a coincidence how you get breaking news last night, you know, being relayed, talked about publicly, and then shortly after it, you got that news article coming out as well, to do with a key person within the case, Tyler, the truck driver, first on scene and the first person to call the police, call the highway patrol, etc. So I think there is a bit of a coincidence there, at least to my knowledge and what I'm aware of and what I've seen, you know, from my point of view. And I think there's other people that agree as well, such as on Reddit. But I do also agree and feel that in a small space of time, we're going through this phase, and you will go through this in like most cases out there, where there could be a time of silence or not much progression being made, and people are like, what's going on here? Why is nothing happening? And then all of a sudden, bang, you're hit with breaking news after breaking news. Or maybe it's just one piece of breaking news, but then it turns everything upside down. I'm not too sure if anyone has a headache, and I'm not talking about people hearing my voice when I'm talking or when I do my dodgy accents, but more so what people and everyone has learned over time, because majority of people watching this video will be more experienced and have more knowledge about the case than I do, because I've only covered this case for near to 20 days or so, or maybe less. So to hear all this, some of the older information, news, stories, bits and bobs like that, to then suddenly hear about the latest news and coverage, to try and compare and contrast it all, it can be difficult. I think I've done okay up to now, at least. I'm trying not to, you know, I'm trying not to mess up or make mistakes along the way. But, you know, if people do, it's not the end of the world. You know, you will get some people out there which may have their heads a bit rammed up the rear end and say, misinformation, misinformation, and bark like a dog and tell you off and slap you around the head and say, it's not welcome, it's not allowed. Misinformation needs to stop. Let me tell you something. It's not that misinformation needs to stop, it's that it needs to be replaced with the truth. Indirectly, or in the background, for the misinformation to stop, it needs to be replaced with the truth and then the context given to reinforce that. I mean, it's a simple procedure. So if there was misinformation or if there was a mistake made, you just simply say, nope, that wasn't the case. Actually, this happened. That never happened. And why? Because that's where it came from. Here's the link to this. Here's a screenshot of that. Just to back it up, it's like with the Dylan Rounds case when I came across a lot of toss pots and planks and plums that decided to, turn a case upside down and cause confusion, spread gossip, rumours, but turn it into a fact with inappropriate language and wording. It caused confusion. And then with time, I tried clearing it up, which I did that exactly. And I backed it up as well. And I did comparisons with footage in the past and news articles and interviews, compared, contrasted, side-by-side comparisons. I cleared it up. I cleansed the BS and I gave the source. That's what's needed. You want the misinformation to stop? Well, speak the truth. And not only that, but provide the source. That will clear everything up and make it a lot easier for other people. It's very simple, isn't it? And obviously, not everybody is a YouTuber. Not everybody uploads videos to their channel to show the proof. But if you can get a hold of links, you can always post them in the comment section to say, look, here's that post on Facebook where there was that text conversation back then claiming about this happened and that, or claiming about that never happened. Oh, here's a post on Facebook from the aunt of Noah Presgrove, Robin Smith, supposedly highlighting that, confirming Jack Newton did the polygraph test and passed, right? Because there'll be people out there saying, do we know if Jack actually did a polygraph, even though that's what he said? Can we trust in what he says? Well, at least from the last time I looked, the aunt of Noah Presgrove confirmed it and confirmed that he passed, right? Does a link need to be given in order to, share that with the people that are a bit uncertain? Yes. Is it easy to get a hold of? That might be the problem. Because from 2023 onwards, there's been so many posts on Facebook, I'm guessing, right? On Facebook, not directly a particular page, but post here and there and conversations already underway. Then fast forward on to the next Labour Day, which would have been 2024, I think, which is a prominent time for certain activity on Facebook. And just all the post and repost and conversations, discussions, photos all over the place, trying to find it, it can be hard, right? Unless there is a search bar, a search feature in which you can type in a few keywords and then it will come up with that direct post. Maybe that's the way to go. Then you can find the links from there and apply it within a conversation or a discussion, possibly. Now, to return back to the situation of that truck driver, I mean, it's weird in some of the stuff that he says and that it was normal and there wasn't anything messed with, even if you weren't aware of what's happened before you got there. There are some signs and factors which are kind of obvious to make it seem like something did happen, such as folded shorts. A dead person doesn't do that. Someone else would have had to have done that. And Tyler's like, oh yeah, nothing to see here. Is there a chance that Tyler has been paid off to give a different story? Is Tyler in on it? Supposedly. I'm trying to use supposedly as much as possible so people don't take it the wrong way. Allegedly. It's just because how he acts, how he behaves, the things he says, a few little contradictions here and there, not exactly a good look. Just like how people at the party, just like how some of the parents have given contradictory stories as well. It's harder to trust him, just like how it is with Tyler at this moment in time. If we was to do a comparison, last time I did the comparison between Kaden Pressy and the autopsy report, but I think it's more fairer possibly to do it between Kaden and Tyler. Whilst they may have not crossed paths physically there at the time, and I'd think that way because after 5:15, in a short space of time I'm assuming, Tyler got down there. Only 1 mile of distance to cover, 10 minutes, maybe less to get down. Stay there for 5 minutes at least. That's still before the 5:53 timestamp. So by the time Kaden has been told to leave the scene, then the police guy tampers with the body. It would mean that those people would have left the scene. So that when Tyler gets down there at 5:53, he's the only one there, right? So the dodgy people in that supposed recording, the official police guy, the volunteer firefighter, the one behind the camera, the two other clothed individuals that were all there at the time, who were responsible for ordering Kaden lightly to step away and go back home. During that dodgy activity, once they did what they did, they all left the area, left the body there, until what? until it was actually reported in directly to the police in general, the patrol? Seems like it. So Kaden's long gone by the time the likes of Tyler comes on down at 5:53. Now, granted, it says 5:53 the call was made. So that's the timestamp to say he was there. It would have been around 5:53 when he passed by. It doesn't take that long to pass by then to make a call to the police, I'm guessing. And you could even round it down a bit and say 5:40, 5:45, 5:40 to 5:53 at least. And that's still enough time difference between Kaden getting there and then being told to leave. And then later, Tyler coming on down. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So I don't think they would have seen one another. As for Noah Presgrove, the key timestamps given are 6 in the morning, roughly, when... Wait, did I say the correct name then? Jack? Apologies if I said the wrong name just then. There's so many names going on, it's a mess. Whatever I said just then, let me just recorrect it, even if it wasn't needed to be recorrected. With Jack Newton, 2 timestamps at least, 5:15 and 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning, down at the scene of where Noah's body was. May have come across it for the first time, based off his reactions and emotions, but it'd be hard to believe. But in terms of him actually being there, it seems to tie in line with what Tyler said in the article. So there's a bit of consistency there at least. Tyler comes face to face or near to Jack Newton at the scene 6 in the morning. Okay, but that's not the first time Jack was there. Why is that? Because at 5:15, like at least an hour time difference, if not more, at 5:15, Jack was already aware of the death of Noah. And it would have meant likely that Jack was at the highway to have seen it, to then return back to the house, the party house, to let people know for them, like Kaden, to head on down to that area of the highway, right? Because, if Jack just came in and said, Noah's dead, that's it. But then they would have been like, well, where do we go? Where's the body? And obviously Jack would have had to have said, down the highway. So then Kaden and the group of guys would have had to have gone up that way north. So it means before 5:15, Jack was already there at the highway to know about the death of Noah. And the reported text, not reported in, it was like reported or, flagged, but recorded. Well, what we're seeing with Jack, and Jack said, about 4 in the morning when Noah passed, it would mean that 4 in the morning, Jack was at the highway near to the body of Noah from the looks of it. And then 1 hour, 15 minutes, then Jack decided to return back to the house. So 4 in the morning up to 5:15, what the hell was Jack doing then on the highway? Did he spend all that time next to Noah's body? Did he do anything else in between? Jack himself said that Noah passed away at 4 in the morning. Jack also said at 5:15 that Noah is dead. Not that that's when he died at 5:15, but just to announce the news that Noah is dead. And then later on in the case, with the conversations online and on Facebook, in a text message, Jack responded back to someone saying it was 4 in the morning of Noah's passing. Why'd you say that? If that really was true, that it was 4 in the morning of Noah passing away and Jack was there to witness the final breath moments of his best friend Noah, why didn't Jack in that moment report it to the police? Why did it take from 4 in the morning to 5:53 for a call to be made when there was people already before all that who came and went, right? Maybe I'll have to write it out as a timeline based off what I've heard of and what I've known. And it's annoying me now because I feel like I need to do it right now, but I can only do one video at a time, right? Because this was critical in its own right. There might be some additional stories or points which I might have not mentioned or know of because the case has gone on for some time, but I'm trying to catch up as I go along whilst trying to maintain knowledge of the latest news because recently it's been quite back to back. Eventually I'll try and return back to my video projects because I still have quite a few to tick off the list. Regarding the order, it could differ. It just depends what's more important to cover first. and then that's how we'll do things from there. So I hope this video was somewhat clear to understand. Maybe I can make it clearer in the future with some kind of timeline. I was thinking of maybe if I got like sheets of paper all the way across, where I've got this camera, put the sheets of paper all the way across with writing on, and then drag the phone over it and say, this timestamp, that timestamp, that timestamp, because it's all on one whole reel going across instead of slides on a phone. And it's a bit more creative as well. I could do it with a highlighter pen, so it's easy and big text for people to see if there's audience members that have a hard time reading, seeing, or whatever. As for colourblind, well, not much I can do about that. But I think we'll leave it there for now. Be sure to like and share the video so more people see this, and especially see this critical analysis and comparison by me from what I've heard of recently and what I've heard of now, because it doesn't quite tie in together, a few little contradictions made, but more importantly, based on the things that are supposedly true, it does give a certain order as to how things played out, even if the key timestamps have not been given yet. I know in here that this happened before that, based off what's been said here, okay? Providing the original context material is 100% ironclad certainty, right? Let's just say everything went to shit, okay? And it was a complete disaster. Don't worry, I'm here, all under control regardless. If you do have to work backwards, that's what we can do. Maybe that can be done at some other point. There was another Daily Mail article, I think around the same time, close to when the autopsy report article came out, but I think it might give a bit more of a descriptive story about the case early on. It might be lacking certain information, but I could always go over it. Maybe I'll do a poll on my community page about, would you like to see a recap of old information, a recap of previous stuff talked about? And then just try and go over it, and if anything needs correcting, to my knowledge, I can do so. And if you want to do that yourself as well, it can be interactive. And for people that are new to this case or trying to catch up on a quick basis, where you can always refer back to my past coverage, but in a new video format, it might help. But I'll need to know the votes and what people think about it. So we'll see what happens with time and what happens next. If there's any more breaking news or shocking twists and turns in the case, you never know. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I think there's a button on the left, so then you're notified of future videos and you'll be able to catch up on them. And as said, you want to catch up on my previous videos, I symbol, click that, you'll find it. And if you do want to support the channel, as said, shout out to those that have already done so, but if you want to, links down below under this video in the pinned comment. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, appreciate the patience, and goodbye for now.